Aslan Adnan, M.A., presents the coconut's giant cousin, the remarkable Coco de Mer, Wednesday, 22 July, 2026.
A worthy chapter in the story of coconuts. Among the palms that define the tropical world, the coconut, Cocos nucifera, reigns supreme for its extraordinary versatility, global distribution, and profound importance to human civilization. Few plants have contributed as much to food security, commerce, culture, and coastal livelihoods across the tropics. Yet hidden away on two small islands in the western Indian Ocean grows an equally remarkable, though far less familiar, member of the palm family, the Coco de Mer, Lodoicea maldivica, also known as the double coconut or sea coconut. Although it bears only a distant evolutionary relationship to the true coconut, the Coco de Mer is one of the most extraordinary palms on Earth. It produces the largest and heaviest seed in the entire plant kingdom, has one of the slowest reproductive cycles of any flowering plant, and is found naturally nowhere else except the Seychelles. Its bizarre appearance, mysterious history, and extraordinary biology have fascinated explorers, monarchs, botanists, and naturalists for centuries. Including the Coco de Mer in a comprehensive study of coconuts serves several important purposes. It highlights the astonishing diversity within the palm family. Ericaceae illustrates the peculiar pathways by which scientific knowledge develops and demonstrates how geographical isolation can produce spectacular evolutionary adaptations. Equally important, it reminds us that palms are far more diverse than their familiar tropical image suggests. The Coco de Mer is not merely a botanical curiosity. It is a living testament to the interplay of evolution, geology, ocean currents, folklore, and scientific discovery. The medieval mystery of the sea. Coconut. Long before Europeans discovered the Seychelles, enormous double-lobed nuts occasionally washed ashore on distant coastlines throughout the Indian Ocean, particularly in the Maldives, Sri Lanka, southern India, and occasionally East Africa. No one knew where they came from. Unlike ordinary coconuts, these immense seeds were unlike anything people had ever encountered. They were exceptionally heavy, smooth, perfectly symmetrical, and strikingly resembled the human pelvis or buttocks. Since no living tree producing them had ever been seen, an extraordinary mystery developed around their origin. Arab traders, Indian merchants, Chinese sailors, and Malay mariners all encountered the enigmatic fruits. As the nuts drifted across the Indian Ocean on complex current systems, stories spread that they originated from mysterious forests growing beneath the sea. According to medieval belief, vast underwater palm groves flourished on the ocean floor, hidden from human sight. Some legends place these forests near a gigantic whirlpool, known as the Navel of the Seas, from which the miraculous fruits supposedly emerged. The explanation seemed entirely reasonable to people of the time. The nuts appeared only after storms, and no corresponding palm tree had ever been observed on land. Since mature seeds usually sank, only old, decaying, and non-viable specimens eventually floated to the surface before washing ashore thousands of kilometers from their true home. The fruit's unusual anatomy only deepened its mystique. Its suggestive resemblance to human anatomy inspired associations with fertility, sexuality, abundance, and supernatural powers. In the Maldives, every nut that washed ashore automatically became the property of the Sultan. Private possession without royal permission could result in severe punishment, as these rare treasures were considered state property. Throughout Asia and Europe, Coco de Mer shells became highly prized collector's items. They were carved into ceremonial bowls, drinking vessels, and ornamental objects. Wealthy rulers believed they possessed magical properties, serving as antidotes against poison, medicines for numerous ailments, or powerful aphrodisiacs. Emperor Rudolph II of the Holy Roman Empire reportedly paid an enormous sum to acquire one, transforming it into an elaborate work of art. The French later named the mysterious fruit Coco de Mer, literally coconut of the sea, a name that perfectly captured centuries of maritime mystery. The curious mistake behind Lodoicea maldivica. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Coco de Mer is that its scientific name preserves an historical mistake. Because nearly all known specimens reached European naturalists through the Maldives, early botanists naturally assumed that the tree itself grew there. Without ever seeing a living specimen, Johann Friedrich Gmelin formally described the species in 1791 as Cocos maldivica. The assumption was entirely understandable. At the time, no European scientist knew of the palm forests hidden within the granitic islands of the Seychelles. The only evidence available consisted of mysterious nuts recovered from distant beaches, even after the species was transferred into the separate monotypic genus Lodoicea, named either in honor of King Louis Fufft of France or possibly inspired by classical mythology. The specific epithet maldivica remained unchanged. Ironically, the species has never been native to the Maldives. Its true homeland was revealed only after French expeditions explored the Seychelles during the 18th century. In 1768, the expedition led by Marc-Joseph Marion Dufresne documented living populations growing naturally on Praslin Island. The centuries-old mystery was finally solved. The legendary sea coconut had never come from the Maldives at all. Yet the incorrect geographical reference survived. Under the International Code of Nomenclature for algae, fungi, and plants, scientific names generally follow the principle of priority. Once a name has been validly published, it is normally retained unless exceptional circumstances justify conservation or rejection. Consequently, the misleading epithet maldivica remains permanently attached to a species that is endemic solely to the Seychelles. This curious taxonomic anomaly serves as a reminder that scientific knowledge develops incrementally. Names often preserve the history of discovery, including the misconceptions that preceded better evidence. Taxonomy and evolution. The Coco de Mer belongs to the family Ericaceae, one of the world's most diverse families of palms. Unlike the coconut, however, it occupies a very different branch of the palm evolutionary tree. It belongs to the subfamily Coryphoideae and the tribe Boracea, whereas the coconut belongs to the subfamily Ericoidea. Although both are palms, they diverged millions of years ago and are not each other's closest living relatives. Lodoicea is a monotypic genus containing only a single living species, Lodoicea maldivica. Its closest relatives include other members of the Boraceae, such as the Palmyra palm, Borassus flabellifer, the African fan palms, Borassus sbp, and the down palms, Hyphene sbp, rather than the coconut itself. The evolutionary history of the Coco de Mer reflects millions of years of isolation. The Seychelles are ancient granitic islands that became separated from the Indian subcontinent following the breakup of Gondwana. Their prolonged isolation created conditions favoring unique evolutionary pathways. The giant seed probably evolved as an adaptation to nutrient-poor island environments. By investing enormous quantities of stored energy into each seed, young seedlings are better able to establish themselves beneath dense forest canopies where light and nutrients are limited. This strategy sacrifices quantity for quality. Rather than producing numerous small seeds, the palm produces relatively few but exceptionally well-provisioned offspring. The species also exemplifies an extremely slow life history strategy. Individual trees may live for 6 to 8 centuries, grow slowly, reproduce infrequently, and depend upon remarkably stable forest ecosystems. Biology of a giant tense. Nearly every aspect of the Coco de Mer reflects biological gigantism. Mature trees typically reach heights of between 25 and 34 meters and possess enormous fan-shaped, costopalmate leaves measuring up to 10 meters in length. The leaves rank among the largest produced by any palm species. The species is dioecious, meaning that individual trees are either male or female. Male trees produce spectacular, catkin-like inflorescences that may exceed 1 meter in length and continue producing flowers for many years. Female trees bear the world's largest fruits. Each fruit commonly weighs between 15 and 30 kilograms, although exceptional specimens may exceed 45 kilograms. Within each fruit lies the heaviest known seed produced by any plant, often weighing 25 kilograms or more. The fruit's distinctive double-lobed form has invited endless comparisons with the human body. Its remarkable resemblance to female buttocks or the human pelvis has inspired centuries of folklore, artistic representation, and cultural symbolism. Everything about its reproductive cycle proceeds at an extraordinarily slow pace. Fruits require between 6 and 10 years to mature following pollination. After germination, seedlings may take 2 years before becoming fully established. Individual trees often require between 20 and 40 years, or even longer, before producing their first flowers. Such extraordinary slowness contributes both to the species' vulnerability and its longevity. In stable forest ecosystems, patience has become an evolutionary advantage. Comparing the Coco de Mer with the true coconut. Despite their superficial similarities, the Coco de Mer and the coconut represent two very different evolutionary strategies. The coconut is a supreme colonizer. Its buoyant fruits can survive prolonged journeys across oceans before germinating on distant shores. Combined with thousands of years of human cultivation, this ability has allowed Cocos nucifera to become one of the world's most widely distributed palms. The Coco de Mer has evolved in precisely the opposite direction. Its seeds are so heavy that they fall almost directly beneath the parent tree. Fresh fruits sink rather than float. Only after prolonged decay do empty shells become buoyant, by which time the seed is no longer capable of germination. Ocean dispersal, therefore, contributes nothing to reproduction. The coconut thrives along coastlines, disturbed habitats, and sandy beaches. The Coco de Mer flourishes within ancient inland palm forests, particularly the celebrated Vallée de Mai on Praslin, often described as one of the world's most remarkable palm ecosystems. Human relationships with the two species also differ profoundly. Every part of the coconut has practical value, from food and drink to fiber, timber, charcoal, oil, medicine, and construction materials. The Coco de Mer, by contrast, has historically been valued more for rarity than utility. Its shells became luxury objects, ceremonial vessels, diplomatic gifts, medicinal curiosities, and collectors' treasures rather than everyday commodities. Both palms have generated myths, but the Coco de Mer has inspired perhaps the richer folklore because of its extraordinary appearance, extreme rarity, and mysterious origins. Conservation status and protection. The Coco de Mer is classified as endangered on the IUCN Red List. Fewer than 10,000 mature trees remain in the wild, almost all confined to Praslin and Curious Islands in the Seychelles. Its restricted distribution makes it particularly vulnerable to habitat destruction, illegal harvesting, forest fires, invasive species, climate change, and changing rainfall patterns. Fortunately, most remaining natural populations occur within protected areas, including the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Vallée de Mai and the Curios Marine National Park. Strict legal protection governs the collection, sale, and export of seeds. International trade is carefully monitored under CITES, while Seychelles maintains rigorous national legislation controlling ownership and export permits. Conservation programs include ecological monitoring, habitat restoration, sustainable seed management, fire prevention, scientific research, and community participation. Although illegal poaching for the lucrative souvenir market remains an ongoing challenge, strengthened conservation efforts have stabilized several important populations. The survival of the Coco de Mer represents one of the world's most significant plant conservation successes, while simultaneously reminding us how vulnerable island endemics remain. Folklore, mythology, and human imagination. Few plants have inspired as much folklore as the Coco de Mer. In Seychellois tradition, stories claim that male and female trees came alive during violent tropical storms to consummate secret unions. Anyone who witnessed these nocturnal encounters risked blindness, madness, or death. Such tales helped explain the mysterious appearance of fruits while discouraging people from entering sacred forests. During the 19th century, General Charles George Gordon famously proposed that the Vallée de Mai represented the original biblical Garden of Eden. He even suggested that the Coco de Mer, rather than the apple, had been the true forbidden fruit. Throughout the Indian Ocean world, the nuts became enduring symbols of fertility, prosperity, longevity, medicine, and royal authority. Their rarity transformed them into diplomatic gifts exchanged between rulers and collectors. These legends reveal far more about humanity than about the tree itself. Faced with an unexplained natural phenomenon, people instinctively filled the gaps in knowledge with stories that reflected their fears, hopes, desires, and spiritual beliefs. From myth to science, and the lessons of nomenclature. The history of the Coco de Mer beautifully illustrates the relationship between mythology and science. The medieval belief in underwater forests was incorrect. Yet it arose from careful observation of genuine events. Mysterious nuts did indeed emerge from the sea, carried by powerful ocean currents over vast distances. Science eventually solved the mystery through exploration, botanical investigation, and systematic observation. Yet even after the truth emerged, history left its permanent imprint in the scientific name Lodoicea maldivica. This enduring nomenclatural error reminds us that scientific knowledge is cumulative rather than instantaneous. Each generation builds upon earlier observations, correcting mistakes while preserving the historical record of discovery. Ironically, one of the world's most scientifically remarkable palms continues to bear a name commemorating a place where it has never naturally grown. Reflections on palms, evolution, and island life. The Coco de Mer deserves far more than a passing mention in any serious study of coconuts. Although it is not the coconut's closest living relative, it provides an illuminating contrast that deepens our understanding of palm evolution, island biogeography, and the extraordinary diversity within the family Ericaceae. Its immense seeds, exceptionally slow life cycle, ancient lineage, and restricted distribution illustrate how isolation can produce biological marvels found nowhere else on Earth. Equally compelling is the remarkable story of its discovery, in which maritime folklore, mistaken geography, scientific investigation, and botanical nomenclature became permanently intertwined. Today, the Coco de Mer stands as both a scientific treasure and a conservation icon. It reminds us that evolution often proceeds along unexpected pathways, that myths sometimes preserve kernels of truth, and that even scientific names can become enduring monuments to historical misunderstanding. Above all, the Coco de Mer demonstrates that palms are far more than useful tropical plants. They are living archives of geological history, evolutionary innovation, and human imagination. Strange, majestic, and singularly unforgettable, the Coco de Mer is unquestionably a story worthy of being told in full.